Oh, yes. Thank you. What's up, Milwaukee and the world? Welcome to yet another episode of Saved and the City with your girl Iberia on WQIL-DB. If you are searching and trying to figure out, okay, where exactly is WQIL-DB? It is an internet radio station, and you can hear me every Friday at 12 p.m. at www.wqil-db.com. And if you're watching live on Facebook, then you know exactly where you can find me. And that's every Wednesday at noon, right on Facebook Live, just so that you guys get a chance to see the behind the scenes. And so for those people who are joining even now, I know it's like, oh, this is a different angle. Yeah. You know, we had to make do, and I kind of like this angle. I think it might work, at least for a little bit. So I appreciate each and every one of you for just always being there. Hey, Shauna, I see you there. I appreciate all of my supporters, specifically my weekly sponsors, Mima's Gourmet Delights. It is near the holiday season, so you know if you have burnt your pie in the oven, you might as well head on down to Woodman's and pick you up another one, because Mima's Gourmet Delights is stacked full and ready to go. So whether you need your caramel cakes, your red velvet cakes, your sweet potato pies, the peach cobblers, and all those amazing things that you can definitely support one of Milwaukee's own. Again, Mima's Gourmet Delights. Or you can place an order. I don't think she's taking any more, though, this week because Thanksgiving is tomorrow, but you can still go and pick those up at Woodman's in Menominee Falls. So shout out to Mima's Gourmet Delights. And also to LZ Flanard of Enterprise Now. I wouldn't even be in the studio space without him. So I'm so appreciative. Shout out to Sarita Campbell. I see you. Yes, go ahead and get your pie, girl. But LZ, thank you so much just for all your support with this particular project of mine, and just really for believing in me and really teaching me the lane of podcasting. So I really appreciate you. And so as you guys are searching and even subscribing to my own personal podcast, make sure that you take time to search for Enterprise Now and subscribe to his podcast as well. You definitely will not be disappointed. And for those of you who are just joining for the first time, maybe you're joining because of the different guests that we have on. Let me tell you just a little bit about the show. Saved and the City is a weekly talk show where we candidly explore issues and topics from church culture to world culture and everything in between. Each show ends with the solution for the show's theme problem. We call that the Kingdom Solution. So you'll hear me say that later on in the show, and that's where you need to go ahead and get your notepad so you get that good word, that good foundation that you can stand on no matter what it is that you might be dealing with in your personal life. Like me on Facebook, please. Why not? I like you. Twitter, Instagram, I'm everywhere that you want to be. I want you guys to stay connected so you don't miss any of the amazing things that we have coming up in the remainder of the year and into 2018. Again, shout out to Luminosity Enterprises for all of your marketing support, to Michaela Farmer for holding me down in the studio. Love her. So shout out to Lead to Change for some amazing interns that you guys have over there. Michaela has surely been the foundation for me over these last few months. So appreciative of her. And of course, to each and every one of you. Thank you. Because who wants to talk to an empty room? I really, really appreciate it. So as you're continuing to join, make sure that you like this post, share it, tag some friends and family in this post, because you don't want to miss our topics that we're going to, or our testimonies that we're going to be talking about today, because you know exactly what day it is and exactly what time it is. It's Won't He Do It Wednesday, because won't he do it every time? And we love God here at Saved in the City. And we definitely couldn't do any of these things without the Savior. So without further ado, I'd love to jump right into the topic at hand. What I'm so excited about is that I never have to do this alone. I love the people that come on the show, because you'd be so surprised at everybody's journey is something different, you know, and everybody's struggle is relative. And so this young woman I actually met through one of my best friends, Aisha Sturtevant. I'm sure she's going to be watching at some point a little bit later on in the show if she's not watching now. But this actually happens to be one of her family members. But even before I met her, I saw her shirt, and I was like, faith over failure. Now there's something to that. And so then when I found out that there was a connection, I said, let's talk a little bit more about it. And I heard that you have also just kind of an amazing testimony.
Yeah.
So are you here with me today? How you feeling this morning?
I'm feeling pretty good.
Yeah,
Can't complain.
You made it here, the Milwaukee child. You pressed your way. I love it. I love it. So why don't you start by just telling the people just a little bit about yourself, about the product that we'll be talking about, and then just kind of the journey to get to now.
Yeah, first of all, I want to just thank you for allowing me to be here on your show. It's definitely an honor. Yes. But as Miss Iberia said, I am Ronika Perkins, and I am the founder of Faith Over Failure. And it's an amazing journey. It's been an amazing journey. It's pretty much I just started this brand, I want to say, less than 2 months ago.
Wow.
And
wow,
yeah,
really?
Super amazing. Like when God plants something in you, I'm telling you, it takes off. If it's real and if it's him and if he give it to you, it takes off. Wow. So yeah, Faith Over Failure just hit the mark like 2 months ago, as I said. And pretty much I was sitting in this empowerment session, and this lady, her name is Pastor Monica. She's from Delaware. She's she has a church called Prevailing Church International in Delaware. So she came here to Milwaukee to do an empowerment session to teach people how to start their own businesses. Right. So I went in like, man, I'm going to just start this grand business because I have like a business idea. And I'm like, I start this grand business and I'm going to just be great. And so she started her little session. And next thing you know, God just started speaking to me in the middle of her empowerment session. Yeah. And my idea was totally different from God's idea. And he pretty much dropped in my lap, like, I want you to do Faith Over Failure. And I was like, man, God, like, I don't even know what that is. Why me? Why do you want me to do something called Faith Over Failure? What am I going to do with it? He was like, you're going to minister to my people with it. And he said, it's going to be a brand, but more than a brand. It's your ministry. This is what I'm giving you.
I get that.
And I was like, wow. So he gave me T-shirts and a journal to start out with because I love to write. And everything that I go through, I write about it. And I just write it down in my own personal journals that, you buy from Target or TJ Maxx or whatever. So,
dollar store over here.
Yeah, listen, they work. And, so I got to I just followed them. I started doodling on my page, not even listening to Pastor Monica. And, within 5
Pastor
minutes,
Monica, we're sorry, but there was a revelation.
Listen, within 5 minutes, God gave me an entire, ministry. And he showed me how to work it, and he gave me a time limit. He gave me 2 weeks. He said, I'm giving you this today, but in 2 weeks, I want this out there. So I'm like in looking at Pastor Monica, and she's probably like, why is this girl staring at me? But I'm really staring at her, but I'm really not even paying attention to her. And I'm thinking like, gosh, I can't do this in 2 weeks. Like, my account is in a negative.
Wow.
Negative $400 to be exact.
Yeah.
And I'm like, God, I have no money. I have no team, no support.
That's so good. Wow.
And
I was talking about that this morning.
God was like, Faith Over Failure. He said, when I give it to you, you walk it out. You run with it. Yeah. So literally when I left the conference, resources came falling in my lap, and I was able to produce Faith Over Failure within no time. He gave me the 2 weeks, but I think I got it out there 2 days before my deadline because I trusted God and I knew that it was something big. So the idea of Faith Over Failure, because I also was puzzled, like, what is it? Why are you giving me Faith Over Failure? What is it that what can I tell the people? Sure. And he gave me a flashback of my life in 2016. And from the time, I'm a nursing student right now, and I'm graduating in May. I'm so excited. Graduating from Columbia College of Nursing. So,
wow, that's awesome.
With my bachelor's degree, and it's been a long journey. And he reminded me of the times where I failed. Out of school, like kicked out. You can't come back to this school. You have to go. And I didn't know what to do. And I was like, Lord, this is my passion. Like nursing is what I want to do. This is my heart's desire. And you said that you'll give me the desires of my heart. And within, I say 2 weeks, registrations was closed for all schools because they closed in March and now it's May. And he opened the door and I got into Columbia.
Wow.
And I passed the entry exam. And I didn't pass it on the first time. I failed. I failed 3 times. 3 times before I got into that school. And God was just reminding me of all the times where I could have failed, where I did fail, and how he pulled me up because of my faith. And as I'm traveling along in 2016, school starts, I'm on a journey, and I know I'm like, oh, I got things to prove. I got things to prove to myself, to my family, to the people that kicked me out. And
right. We always have that.
I got a phone call that my father died in the middle of school. And I was like,
wow.
Lord, how am I going to do this? And, man, within, I want to say 3 weeks, I was struggling to maintain school, maintain a balance with my family, maintaining my emotions because I wanted to break down.
Right.
And God made a way.
Nobody's thinking about a T-shirt line after
Nope,
that. You
not
know,
at
you're
all.
like, okay, Dad. Yeah, I've been through that.
It was crazy. So once we buried my father and I got everything situated with my family, with the help of my family, 11 days later, I get a phone call from my mom. And I can hear in her voice, like, something's wrong. Like, and I get to questioning her, panicking, like, what's wrong? What's going on? And first thing she says is, like, where's your husband? And I'm like,
what?
Well, we're getting ready. He's getting ready for a wedding. And I'm like, well, talk to me. What's going on? And she finally tells me, like, Scooter's gone, which is my sister. Yeah, my heart, my best friend, man, my everything. And
Jesus. The same year?
The same year. 11 days.
Last year?
Last year. 11 days after I buried my father. 11.
What?
And this one really hit home. This one hit.
Right, because that's
this one,
like peer to peer. And you know what I mean?
Yes.
Like,
so, at this time, like, I questioned. I'm not even going to sit here like I didn't. I questioned God. I questioned
Absolutely.
my faith. I questioned my belief. I questioned everything. And, yeah, he just started reminding me of all those times and all those things that I went through. And
well, so I guess the question is, like, just beaming in me right at this point. So then, so we talk about faith over failure, but like you said, when you're at that point, you know, of course we have the situations, oh, I don't have enough money in the account, or I don't have this, but when it's a life situation, you lose a family member, not one, but 2, in the same year, not extended cousin from way across town I ain't never met, this is sister, this is daddy.
yes.
How do you make that transition to say, okay, I know the T-shirt line now has been, last 2 months, but what was that process, that process, or even that journey to say, okay, God, I can trust you again? What was that wake up call or that point where you said, or was it someone that spoke into your ear? Was it just a reminder?
Honestly, it was solely support from some of everyone, some of everybody, like from my pastors, from my mom, people that I been knowing since my childhood, just like their support. And what really woke me up at that point was God himself. I remember the day of my sister's funeral, we were all sitting in like my grandparents' backyard. And I looked in the sky, and it was an angel, wings. And all I heard was my sister's voice saying, Ro, I'm okay.
What?
God healed me. He's faithful. And then literally I just sat there in like astonishment. And then God himself was like, I promised you healing, and that's what she has, pretty much. And I was like, wow. So it was pretty much my support team that got me through, and God that got me through. I was really selfish, though.
Yeah.
I was really selfish. I was at a point where I didn't want to pray.
No, I get that.
I didn't want to do none
totally
of that.
Get
Yeah,
that.
yeah. So I was selfish, and I was doing things like, for what?
Yeah.
It was questionable. I was wondering.
No,
why.
I totally get that. I mean, I've been through, and I can't compare in any way, but I lost my father in 2015. and for me, it was 5 deaths back to back. It was my aunt, which was my namesake, Iberia. That's where I get the name Iberia from. So my aunt passed, which is my mother's oldest sister. Then it was my father. Then it was my childhood pastor. And then it was like a spiritual mom, like my mother's mother, but it wasn't, someone that pretty much kind of raised her, had passed. And it was just like, what in the world? And so you go through that process. And what I love, and you said that, you said like you heard the voice of God, or some people feel like it's an inner voice, whether it was audible or something you heard on the inside. It was that comfort that you need. That's that Holy Spirit that sends you the comfort that you need. And for me, it was like right around the part where my father was going to die. I don't know, unless you've dealt with a death, God speaks to you in a way that unless you go through it, you won't even really get what we're saying. When you go through it, it's like this, you feel like, it's going to be okay. It's like it's a voice that kind of comes back to you. So, wow, thank you so much for even sharing that, because that's still a fresh, kind of a fresh thing. Now we're back to holiday season and all of that. So what brought you back to Faith Over Failure and actually saying, okay, now I'm ready to do the product line?
I think what brought me back was, like I said, everything is God's driven. Yeah. He's center. I have a cousin that lives in Denver, and his ministry, his church is called Champion Church, and their mission is make Jesus famous. Yeah. And every time I see that tagline, I just think about everything in my life is not mine. It's God's, and my sole purpose is to make Jesus famous. Yeah. And so pretty much Faith Over Failure, like you were saying earlier, we have a choice. We can choose to that's good. Fail, there it is. Or we can choose to have faith to overcome. I mean, if we all be honest, we failed a lot in our lifetime, even with not even like big things like death or little things, but we failed like exams, or we failed like something in life. So if we like be honest with ourselves, it was nothing but faith in God that brought us through and that brought us out. So I think that's the biggest thing. And on a shirt, it has a tagline, not necessarily a tagline, but a scripture says Matthew 9:29. And it says that then he touched their eyes and he said, according to your faith, let it be so. Shout. So that right there alone is enough for me. And go ahead. It should be like enough for plenty of people, because God is already saying, I gave you the power. So now it's according to you. It's according to your faith. It's what you're going to do with it. Wow. And so with that, what I'm going to do with it is I'm going to make Jesus famous. Everything that I do is solely purposed and based on centering Jesus in my marriage, in school, in my brand, in my personal life. When I talk to other people, it's making Jesus famous. I love that. And the thing that just stood out, and I'm so glad that you said it, so I'm going to take it back. When we were when I was saying, okay, so what was that deciding factor? What was the thing? What was the thing that brought you out? And we did establish that it was God, but I think the thing that stands out even the more was choice. That thing right there. You got a choice. That's what the whole Faith Over Failure movement is about. You have a choice. You can choose after the death of a loved one to say, okay, bury me with them, or you can choose life. Come on in here. Yeah, that's good. That's good. Don't get me going. There's a little bit of a preacher in me. The same thing, like you said, with your studies, your school, whatever that thing is, with the product line, God, there's ideas dropping all the time. And we have the choice. It's not about looking at the bank account. Like you said, you didn't have anything in there. But when you start to move toward that thing that God has given you to do, the provision will be there if it's been given to you by God. So talk about some of the successes. So now, people are buying the shirts. Do they get them online, or what's the process with that? So right now, people are buying the shirts either like I'm vending like somewhere every month, or people. Oh, I know exactly the place you need to vend. Where you vending at on December 2nd or 3rd? Oh, that's the Diversified. We'll talk about that. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Maybe you can vend at 2 places. We'll talk. So I'm just kind of vending right now in different locations. Yeah. People hit me up through email, through Instagram, through Facebook.
Yeah.
Or I have a shop now button on Facebook. They just order right online.
I love it. And they can get the journal or the shirt.
They can get the journal, the shirt, or both, whatever you want. 3, 4, 5 shirts. I've had people say, hey, give me every color.
Exactly.
Like, okay.
It's a great reminder, you know, because I mean, it's real easy when we're here talking together with like-minded people, but then when life smacks you in the face, sometimes, you know, it's like, okay, never mind. And then you, as you're looking through your drawer and you find your Faith Over Failure shirt, you say, okay, I know exactly what choice I'm going to make. So again, just tell the people how they can stay connected to you. You said you're on Facebook. Are there any other places?
Yeah, so you can follow me. My personal page is Ronika Perkins. Or you can follow me on my Faith Over Failure page, which is Faith Over Failure, all together, and it's just a page on Facebook. Or you can follow me on Instagram. It's Faith_over_failure. Or you can just email me at faithoverfailure929@gmail.com to stay connected with me or get connected with me, whatever you want to do.
Yes, you guys have no excuse to not connect with her. She gave you all of her information. So I'm going to say choose faith, reach out, get yourself a shirt, and also believe that you can make the choice to choose faith over failure. Now we're going to go to our first song by this week's featured artist, O.C. Jackson. We've had her on the show before. Absolutely love her here. Let's go to that first song, Michaela.
I've got to trust you. I will trust you. Your word says they that trust you will never be made ashamed. So I'll place everything in your hands, Lord. I can always trace your hand. your heart concerning me, Lord. Hey, I trust that you will cause all things to work together for my good. So I don't worry about anything. I'll just trust you, Jesus. I choose to trust you, Lord. I know that your thoughts toward me are of good and not of evil. That's why I can trust you, Lord. You've never let me down. You've never let me down. I'll never go wrong trusting you, Lord. Hey, I put all my faith in you. I put all my faith.
Amen. Wow. That was O.C. Jackson. We absolutely love her here at Saved and the City. I'll make sure I put her information in our groups just in case you want to stay connected, get her album, or just kind of support her as she tours and sings around our amazing city. Wow. What an amazing first interview with Ronika Perkins, Faith Over Failure. It is a choice. What choice are you making today? So I'm always so excited to be able to talk to new people and just hear their stories and be able to support the work that they're doing, because it's a real thing. And so you know exactly what time it is. It's about that time. I mean, it's already want to do a Wednesday, but guess what else? Now it's time for church announcement. This is when we actually take an opportunity to shine light on things, places, events that are happening right here in our community. And if you have an event that you would like me to share on the podcast, on the internet radio station, then you can email me at savedandthecitymke@gmail.com. Again, that's savedandthecitymke@gmail.com. And I'm happy to announce your event right here. So let's jump right to it. Diversified Divas presents the second annual Winter Wonderland Brunch. I think I've been announcing this like every show for the last 3 episodes. Sunday, December 3rd, at the River Club of Mequon. I messed up something, so I don't have all of the details, but it's happening then, and I've announced it a million times, so I'll make sure I put the flyer back in the group again. But it's going to be an amazing time of camaraderie with sisters, and all kinds of amazing things happening. Food, fun, and fellowship. Also coming up on December 2nd. This is from 5 to 9. If you're in the Illinois area, it's All Hail the Queen, the Princesses Are Coming. It's an empowerment expo and celebration to inspire, uplift, and encourage girls and women of all ages to believe and live their best life. Shout out to the Mistress of Ceremony, Shauna Weatherspoon. This is, I believe, the second year that they're doing, second or third year that they're doing this amazing event. So if you're in the Illinois area, then make sure that you visit that particular event. There's also vending opportunities. Tickets are only $35, and you can learn more at www.rod-allhailthequeen.eventbrite.com. Also coming up is Thanksgiving, so make sure you spend time with your family, eat some food, enjoy your family. You know, too many times we don't take time to unplug, so make sure that you do that. Also, on Thanksgiving, there's an hour of power happening at Christian Faith Fellowship. Make sure you step out there. And then also on November 30th, Hands Off. We had Delta Triplet on the show last week, and he was talking about his Hands Off campaign, Hands Off Somebody's Daughter. So it's a campaign against domestic violence. So make sure you support him again on November 30th from 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. at Garfield's 502. So, yeah, that's happening. And then also, save the date. I don't know if I want to talk about it now. I'll talk about it with the founder herself, who happens to be in the studio. But save the day, and we can definitely mention it again. Recycle the Black Dollar. This is the third year that it's been happening, and I've been blessed to be able to be in partnership and assisting with this amazing event every year. December 2nd, it's encouraging everyone to put at least one gift under the tree, just one, from a Black-owned business. Secure your vendor space. I don't know if it's over $100. we might, just because you watching Saved in the City right now, we might allow for a couple more vendors. We'll see. But if you want more information, stay locked, because we're definitely going to talk a little bit more about it. But you can also visit www.recycletheblackdollar.com. Now comes one of my favorite times in the show. We talk about the amazing things that are happening in the city, but I also take an opportunity to talk about the amazing people doing the work right here in the city. And so this segment is called the Milwaukee Treasure. It's an opportunity, like I said, to shine light on the amazing jewels that we have right here in our city doing the work. We talked about Recycle the Black Dollar being 3 years in existence, but there's been so many other events and amazing things that this young woman sitting next to me has done. Fight Like a Girl, comes to mind. She gave me the opportunity to fight, and I am not a fighter, and it showed. I got knocked down by one of the skinniest contestants, Desiree. But again, I could continue talking, but why? When she's right here in the studio with me. Jasmine, how you feeling, sister?
I am blessed and highly favored. It is such a tremendous honor to be sitting alongside of you, sis. I mean, we going 2.5 decades strong.
Like, for real.
For real.
What manner of man? Stay choir.
Yes.
That's what that was.
That's what that was. And to still have a sistership, that continues to flourish and to blossom.
Absolutely.
And to be able to partner and collaborate together. So thank you.
Thank you. I'm just excited that you could be on the show. I've been wanting her to be on the show for years, and I was like, I'm giving her 2 segments. This is going, but because she be flying in and out of town. Because other than, the Recycle Black Dollar and all the other things, you work with Pfizer. Okay. So, tell the people a little bit about yourself and all the amazing things that you do. I think that they're amazing.
Oh, well, that's because it takes one to know one. Thank you for being amazing as well and having me here on Saving the City. And yes, just a blessing to be home. To be really going into this time of reflection and being thankful for all of the blessings that he's bestowed. And so I know I get that often, when your hands are in so many different things. I don't know if it's good or bad sometimes when people be like, now, who do you work for? Where do you work? So, being able to have the passion to serve and being blessed to have the platform that he's bestowed. I've been raised by 2 amazing individuals who have always embedded in their children, for to whom much is given, much is expected. And so whether it was, working at Clear Channel in radio, whether it was counting by 5s behind a pharmacy counter for Walgreens, being able to put those multiple professional experiences together and land. I cannot believe it's been over 11 years that I've left the station and left Walgreens to combine those efforts into one position professionally at Pfizer, as you mentioned. So, but for the last 3.5 years, I have been having the opportunity to be in government relations and corporate affairs for Pfizer. So leaving the commercial side of the business and the organization, and really from a timely standpoint, looking at the different changes in the impacts on healthcare, specifically for our people who are the most patient populations that are impacted by a lot of the changes. So, when you have the Affordable Care Act that gave millions of Americans access to health care for the very first time, and then with all of the confusion currently in the marketplace, do you repeal, do you replace? People are just confused. But when you look at where access is and or those disparity gaps, and understanding it's by nature, and it is by design, and being blessed to have that platform to sit in the state houses and City Hall to be able to advocate for all people, but specifically those people that look like me that are on the greater end of those disparity gaps. And so being able to work and lead legislation to ensure that patients within the states that I cover have adequate access to quality and affordable health care is what I do day in and day out. In addition to my first ministry.
Come on.
Which is being the mother to a delightful, powerful young man in his own right, who is the co-founder.
We might see him. I didn't know if he was on vacation from school yet.
The co-founder of 2911.
Yeah.
And so thanks again for this opportunity, this platform to be able to talk about, faith over failure.
Yes. It's a choice. It's an absolute choice. And I can't wait till we can delve a little bit more into your actual kind of testimony and kind of what brought you to this moment in your life today. But the other thing, through 2911, this has been kind of the platform that you've been able to do your nonprofit work.
Absolutely.
And so talk a little bit more about 2911, and then more specifically, let's jump into Recycle the Black Dollar, because that's happening like, what, a week? 2 weeks?
Week and a half, 10 days.
Yeah, go.
Today.
Go for what you know.
So I would say, we're going to dig a little bit deeper into the testimony after the break. But when you look at Faith Over Failure, even from a professional standpoint, I mean, when I landed this amazing dream job that I have now, but it took me 5 interviews and 3 years to make that transition within the same organization. So when you talk about like faith over failure and the multiple no's and the back-to-back, and still understanding that it's what your heart desires and how you want to serve. But even from a personal standpoint, looking at the book of Jeremiah and the prophet, and every time I speak my son's name, it serves as a reminder that God is a God of provision. Whoa. And so during my personal darkest hour and time in my life, Jeremiah 29:11 was the scripture that resonated, that got me through, that out the bed some days, that got me to be able, to even function and to be repetitive and to be able to stand on for the plans I know.
For I know the plans I have for you,
said the Lord.
Baby.
And so being able to even form our philanthropic efforts and our cause marketing events to draw attention to the health and wealth disparities of Black people, 2911 serves as that, but also as a reminder to my son of the expectation of legacy. So being able to have him be a co-founder, to have him, at every single opportunity to lead and to be able to be visible and to do the work.
Yeah, I'm going to say, because it's not like, if you've not met her son, like, he literally is running the show. Like, he is like stepping up, speaking, he's making decisions and choices. It's not just, okay, let's put his name on the list. Like, he's really doing the work, which is amazing. Awesome, yeah.
And especially in the community and even the environment that we're in and what we see on a national and even global platform for Black young men and men, it's also important, for me to be able to showcase positive images to other people. When those stereotypes are there, being able to have a visual and tangible example of positivity and service, but then also, with him directly raising the bar of that level of expectation as well.
Exactly. Oh my God. I'm so glad I have her for 2 segments. So we're going to go to this song by O.C. Jackson, and then we're going to come back and talk just a little bit more, well, actually for a little while more, with Jasmine Johnson. We're going to talk a little bit more about the importance of recycling the Black dollar, and then we're going to hear a little bit more of her personal story of her journey from there to where she is now. All right, let's go to that next song by O.C. Oh, this one ain't the song I thought. No, that's it.
On the mountain high, in the valley low, I will sing your name. I will give you praise. On the mountain with an open heart. I'll always bless your name. I will live for you and speak well of your name. Oh, I'll sing your name, yeah. I'll sing your name forever. And I'll give you praise. I'll give you praise. Your name is exalted, yeah. Your name is high. And there's nobody like you, Lord. There is none like you. You are just and true. You are just and true. Oh, I'll sing your name. I'll sing your name forever. I'll give you praise. I'll give you praise. Your name it is high. Your name is high. Oh, there is none like you, Lord. There is none like you. You are just and true. Oh, you are just and true. Oh, I'll sing your name. I'll sing your name. And I'll sing it forever. And I'll give you praise. I'll give you praise. Your name is high and exalted. There is none like you, no. There is none like you. You are just and true. Yeah. You are just and true.
And we are back. You are locked live to Saved and the City each and every Wednesday on Facebook Live and each and every Friday on WQYLDB at 12 o'clock. And then, of course, if you have been so gracious and subscribed to my podcast, and you can listen to it anytime you want to. So if you have an iPhone, you have an Android device, if you're on Sticher, Google Play, I'm really, truly everywhere that you want to search, you will see my face come up. And so I'm asking that you subscribe to the podcast and share with your friends and family. And if you have ideas and thoughts that you want to share with me on the next or the topic or the show that we should do next, then you can definitely visit my website at www.savedandthecitymke.com. Again, that's www.savedandthecitymke.com, and let me know your idea or thoughts, or even if you want to be on the show, would love to have you here. Now we're back with my girl Jasmine. You still rocking with me, girl?
I'm still rocking with you, girl.
Yes, I love it. So before we went to break, we were just talking about, so many different things, from, kind of the health disparities and decisions and choices when it comes to health care. And then also on a personal level, your nonprofit, 2911. And we're talking about your son and the work that he does, and more specifically, some of the projects that go right along with the organization. And so coming up December 2nd.
December 2nd.
Yes, Recycle the Black Dollar, year 3.
Year 3.
Let's talk about it, because some of the statistics and things that you've given, how long we keep the dollar in our own communities, and for me, that's one of the things that drew me to it. Like, okay, we got to do better. So, talk a little bit about the importance of recycling the Black Dollar, and then how people can connect and
absolutely
be there. Yeah.
So the way even Recycle the Black Dollar came to pass was just over a high level conversation. One of the professors, Dr. Quinn down at UWM, had released a study several years ago that talked about leakage.
Yeah.
And she looked at different zip codes in the city of Milwaukee where millions of dollars. So specifically, for example, in the 53212 zip code, there were 46% of leakage, nearly 50% of dollars that were made in that one zip code, but were leaving due to the ownership of those businesses. So people who can come in,
leakage,
driving in, making the money, but because they don't live, they don't necessarily technically work, they're just business owners, they're taking those dollars back to their communities of where they reside. And so when you look at why some of the state of certain neighborhoods are, is because there's instability of those business owners that are looking like those residents within the neighborhood.
Absolutely.
And so on a national scale, when you have the buying power of black people at over 1.3 trillion with a T, dollars. So we have the money, we're spending the money, but how are we spending our dollars? And so, is it realistic to say, can we do 100% of, our spending with Black owned businesses? I mean, it does take a sacrifice. I'm not saying it doesn't, but what I like to do is try to make it simple for people. And so beyond, the barbershop and the hair salon, it really, Recycle Black Dollar started as a social awareness campaign of just raising consciousness and being diligent and just reflective of how you're spending your dollar. Could you do more? And so when you look at, the stats where more than 55% of Black men 18 to 34 are unemployed. Wow. It is those Black business owners who are more than likely going to give our cousins that need a second chance, And so it is up to us to do our due diligence of making for sure that we're supporting and sustaining those Black-owned businesses. And so beyond just, a social campaign and awareness, the need and the ask came to really build the Recycle Black Dollar campaign out. So whether it's a cash mob on a quarterly basis where we identify a Black-owned business and really mob it. So identify the date, the time frame, 2 hours, and we just really, venture people to that particular location. But, 3 years ago through your partnership, at a conversation at Chic, we were breaking bread, having some food, really looking at how can we leverage the largest retail season in the country, which is going into the holiday season. And again, making it simple. All we ask is take the Recycle Black Dollar challenge, and it's just one gift. Now, out of all the gifts you gonna give this
on Black Friday,
season,
even though some people are you one of the ones that would be what are they doing, protesting the Black Friday, not going?
Well,
not
so
on Black Friday, I don't.
I don't. Well, it's not because it was because even before the I just don't like all them people in one space. It makes me nervous. So for me, and again, it's a choice, and I'm not just like faith over failure is a choice. Just like salvation is a choice. I don't get into who should be where and what people should be doing.
Thank you.
So again, raising the elevation of consciousness, making people be woke, helping people be aware of this. We got $1.3 trillion in our one particular zip code, just again, drilling it down to local information.
That's just crazy.
Because even when you look at other cultural and racial communities, you have the Jewish community who keeps their dollars on a national level in their neighborhoods and recycles it for 21 days before it leaves the community. You have our Hispanic brothers and sisters who keep their dollar in their community recycled for 7 to 8 days. But then unfortunately, and again, we look at why the state of our communities and neighborhoods are the way they are. When Black people keep their dollar recycled in our neighborhoods for 6 hours, nationally, that's a problem. So it's not even changing hands.
We don't even have a day.
We don't
even keep it for a day.
Again, keeping it simple. So if everybody, all the gifts that people are giving, if they can commit to just giving one gift this holiday season by a Black-owned business. So we bring the people to the vendors and the vendors to the people. So strategically, and again, being very strategic in how we are laying things out. Chic Underground is a Black-owned business. So even throughout the day of shopping, you can come there for a meal. Come there for breakfast, come there for lunch.
And the food is good.
And the food is good.
Yeah.
So even in between, having a meal and supporting that Black-owned business, you can take care of some of your holiday shopping. And so last year, we set a goal with the vendors that were there. We wanted a $10,000 day. And at the end of the expo from 10 to 6, we could say that we as a collective, because, we're big on collaboration. Sure. We as a collective put over $10,000 from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. into those Black-owned businesses. Wonderful. And it goes from collaboration, not just from the vendors, but even from those that are customers and patronizers, being able to, then leverage our network and all of theirs to be able to bring the people to the vendors to be able to support them. And so again, looking at the opportunity to strengthen our community. And if we're going to be spending the dollars that we know that we have,
might as well spend it with I'm not going to say our own, but look, I support all the Black people. Just one Black. I feel like Issa Rae. One gift under the tree. Let's do it. Why not?
And when you compare and when you look at the Jewish community and what they've been able to do, and everybody talk about like how even our Hispanic sisters and brothers, they stick together. And we have our issues, right? But how can we collectively move the needle and be that tipping point and create that critical mass that's needed in order to be able to evoke real change and true impact? And that is through collaboration and partnership, not just with our each individual entities, but with our dollars too. Because, you know, my great grandmother would always say the sum total is far greater than each individual part.
Yes.
And that's collective through, I can't do what my sister here does. I can't. Because at the end of the day, I was not created to do that. Yeah. So instead of trying to compete, I'm not trying to have my own radio show. That is not my calling. I never once picked up the bass guitar.
Yes, that's coming back. 2018, watch out.
So, but how can I, even when we were sitting here on break, like, what is the goal? How can I help? What is the goal?
Yeah.
So because the sum total, and the same goes not just for talent and collaboration from business entity to business entity, the same goes for the dollar. Because my $1 is stronger when it's with your $1.
How about it?
So instead of me spending just over here,
$2.
That's the blessing of even the cash mob. When you can bring in mobs of people to support one particular business. And on December 2nd.
It really don't get any easier than that.
On December 2nd.
You're providing on December 2nd the people for you. So you ain't even got to go find them. Just come.
Just come. Street parking. And if you couldn't find a park on the street, it is enclosed parking structure that you could just take the elevator straight down. Then you can actually go back up and drop off your bags and come back down, eat and shop some more. Again, we really try our best from a collaborative effort to really make it as simple as possible for people. Yeah. And one of the testimonials last year was a gentleman who said he got 80% of his holiday shopping done at Recycle the Black Dollar. So, I mean, he stretched that goal from going just from one gift. And so, you know, it's real opportunity. When we talk about what's going wrong in our community, how are we making a choice to be a part of the solution? And this is a very simple, tangible way, because we're going to give gifts.
We're going to shop.
We're going to shop.
Cyber Monday, Black Friday, and then we just need you to come and recycle Black Dollar on December 2nd. And so then also, it was something else I was going to say about, just share just a little bit about who's going to be there. It's a lot, right? A lot going on.
A lot going on. Obviously, you know, vendors range from Pop Therapy this year, who's also hosting a candle making class. You have from Mary Kay. You have from Shea, Africa Shea Live Butter.
Right.
You have individuals from
I'm a Girl of Color, right?
I'm a Girl of Color author. So, and we really beefed up literary lane this year. So in addition of having, you know, looking at opportunities of what to give, because we have some individuals that are avid readers. So why not look at opportunities for those in your on your list of giving, being able, this person loves to read. So why not take a Black author and give a gift, you know, from an author to add to their personal library. Absolutely. So, I mean, in addition to the vendors that are there, and it's an array of from jewelry, handbags, you know, shout out to Fly Blooms, custom handbags and custom blooms, even like the lapel for the jackets. Jeremiah's rocked several Mr. Blooms, you know, on his suit coats throughout the year. But just even a very diverse array of products and services that you can gift, but also programming. Being able to leverage that time where you have a captive audience. So I'm a Girl of Color. Deanna Singh, who's the author, is going to be doing a workshop on I'm a Girl of Color to really look at empowering our young girls of color. And so in partner, again, back to collaboration. So when you have Grateful Girls, just to name a few, I'm not going to list like all 8 partners because I know I'm going to miss some. But, you know, from Pearl's Routine Girls to Grateful Girls to Sisters Got This Too to Let's Talk, from Laverne Badger, being able to bring, again,
Laverne said, hey, sis.
Hey, being able to bring those individuals who have their independent ministries and looking to empower young girls, and they have their own unique aspect that they're bringing to the table, but being able to bring it, you know, in as one, to really wrap our arms around these young ladies who are, you know, from bullying to domestic violence to, you know, human trafficking, being able to bring them together and to empower them and to help boost their self-esteem. So that's a lunch and learn going on from noon to 1. Right before that, we have the Dr. Debbie Allen, in partnership with Mr. Robert McPiles, doing a Money Moves workshop. So, you know, again, we're spending, but even getting, you know, geared up for those New Year's resolutions. Hey.
I'm sorry, it's the same in the city.
Well, we do.
Yes.
We make money moves.
We make money moves.
And so being able to leverage, that Money Moves workshop, being able to program and learn from millionaires. So it's coffee and conversations with millionaires, and how we, from a business standpoint, from a personal finance standpoint, and City Net Cafe is the official coffee roaster for that conversation. So you have from, 10:30 to noon with that. Noon to 1, we're empowering our girls for I'm a Girl of Color. From 1 to 2, we're having a panel featuring several local Black authors. We're diversifying. We have 2 male authors on the panel, 2 female authors on the panel. And then we'll round the day out at the end. Celebrity chef Judson Todd Allen will be coming in from Chicago talking about his book, The Spice Diet, that will be launching in January. But he's celebrity chef to the stars, such as Steve Harvey, whom wrote the foreword for The Spice Diet.
Wow.
And this gentleman, who is a professor at DePaul in culinary, lost through depression. He's like, I teach about culinary, but he got swooped up in his life situation where he became addicted to food. And through just, he feels that, dieting should still be full of flavor. And it should, he talks about, he's the architect of flavor. So through spices and adding flavor to his food, he lost almost 200 pounds.
I can't wait.
So being able to just hear his story and hear his testimony and pre-ordering his book, but then rolling into how we're closing out the day, I'm blessed to see, how God is moving in my cousin's life. Mr. Ossie Kendricks, as the president and CEO of the African American Chamber of Commerce of Wisconsin. He's doing and hosting, along with U.S. Bank, a small business mixer from 5 to 7. So the expos from 2 to 6, small business mixer from 5 to 7, where there's an hour of overlap, so even those vendors can be able to network and mix and mingle with other small business owners. We'll have, DJ Infotech in the mix on the 1s and 2s. But really being able to look at different ways, and show people how easy it is to recycle the black
dollar. Okay, make the choice. I need to see y'all there. I'll be there hosting the stage.
Yes.
Making sure that we flow and we keep it lively and fun. We need you to turn out like never before, Milwaukee. I'm telling you, tag a friend, a family, a business owner. Maybe, if you can get a vendor table, great. If not, come down and network. Whatever your situation is, we want to make sure that we're working together to be better together. Jasmine, I gotta have you come back on the show for the testimony. No, but you shared a little bit. You shared, when you talked about Jeremiah 29:11, and that, that being your go-to scripture, through that process to even get you to the point where you can have a platform. Because a lot of times when you're walking through that low place, you ain't thinking about being able to lift somebody else up, so for you to go from where you were, whatever your situations were, and even we got to do a call in, I'm really, really bringing you back, to being where you are right now. I admire you. You inspire me. I'm telling you, I'll be feeling like, oh, Jasmine's my friend. I'll be feeling like, oh, I got her phone, like for real. Like for real, I'll really be getting in my chest a little bit, like, yes. And so I'm just so thankful to have you on the show, and also Ronika from earlier today. And so what I want to do before we end up kind of wrapping it up, I want to give you your kingdom solution. Remember, we talked about that a little bit earlier, just something that you can take with you. We've been talking about faith over failure, and just all of the amazing things that come out when you choose faith. When you choose faith, because Recycle the Black Dollar was just like she said, it was a conversation, and we was like, should we? Or, I think I was on Facebook tagging you in black businesses.
Made it, yeah. I was like, we left it like, maybe, and then
you
put it into action. I was like, well, I guess we are doing this.
But again, that was stepping out on faith, and so whether it's year 1, 2, 3, or whatever, and then there's also that consistency. So, scripture I'm giving you today is Hebrews 11:1. If you churched it anyway, you know the scripture. Now faith is the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen. Now faith, not yesterday's faith, not tomorrow's faith. The faith that you have right now is the substance of things hoped for. It's the evidence of things not seen. And now the part right there that gets me is that it's the evidence. When you think about like courtrooms, right? Your evidence, that's your proof. So it's saying that faith is your proof. Just your thought is your proof that that thing is real. So I'm admonishing you today just to stand on God's word, because it cannot come back void. It must accomplish that to which it was sent to do. And you can also reach whatever it is that your dream is, whatever your goal is, if you just choose faith over failure. Thank you so much to my sister Ronika Perkins, Jasmine Johnson. I'll make sure I put all that stuff, because y'all better be at Recycle Black Dollar if you're not in Illinois at my cousin's event. The Princess Party, all hail the Queen. But thank you to all my supporters. I definitely could not do this without you, specifically WQILDB Enterprise. Now, Elsie Flanar, you are the bomb.
Thank you, Elsie.
Thank you, Elsie. I got to introduce you to Jasmine. You will love each other. Absolutely. Be sure to follow me on social media to stay connected to all things Saved in City.
Subscribe.
Right.
I did it. And you know I'm not the most technical person, period.
You did it?
I skew as like an 83-year-old woman with technology. And the fact that I found the podcast app, I searched for Saved in the City. My sister girl popped up, and I subscribed.
I'm like this.
Y'all need to subscribe.
subscribe. And until next week, I love you guys. Be encouraged. That's Michaela Hand, y'all. That's not smooth.